Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. Today we're doing something a little bit more casual. There are a few books that I want to sell at my local half-priced bookstore, which gives you just a little bit of store credit whenever you sell books. And I have my eye on a few books in particular, but I'm also in the mood to just kind of browse and see what I might be able to discover at the bookstore today. So hopefully I find some good books that I can talk about when I get back. But first, let's talk about the books that I am unhauling from my bookshelf just because I tried the book and I didn't enjoy it, or I just don't feel the need to keep it. Mr. Churchill's Secretary. This is a historical fiction murder mystery. This is actually a debut that has sparked an entire series. The main character in this story is a spy in England in 1940 after Winston Churchill has just come into power, and of course World War II is underway. But this book doesn't need to stay forever on my bookshelf, so hopefully someone else will give it a great home. Next, I somehow wound up with 2 copies of the latest Murderbot novella, Fugitive Telemetry, and I don't need 2 copies, so I can take this one off my shelf. The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. I love the sound of the premise of this one. I started the novel and I couldn't really continue. It's a little bit how I felt when I tried The House of the Cerulean Sea, which so many people have loved, but just the voice, the writing style, apparently just doesn't jive with me. Next, The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Just don't need to keep it on my shelf anymore. Another novel I started and didn't really get into, Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. Someone will enjoy this hardcover. Although, I still do highly recommend The Hate U Give. Concrete Rose is kind of like a prequel novel to that story. And last, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I tried so hard to get into this novel, and it feels like a dream, and I think I just need a little bit more plot kind of pulling me into the story. I just can't seem to settle into this novel, which is a shame because when I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I do have, that novel I stayed up basically all night until I finished it. I was enraptured. I could not put that novel down. So I was a little bit disappointed by The Starless Sea. However, I know tons of other people have loved this novel, and one of them can get this beautiful hardcover for their bookshelves. So we will see what the bookstore wants to take. I'm pretty sure they'll want to purchase all of these copies, and we'll see if I find anything fun. I'm back, and I found some books. Whoops. That was so nice just to be able to go browse a bookstore for a little while with no time pressure. I didn't find the one book that I was on a mission for at the half-price bookstore, so I did wind up at Barnes & Noble for that and one other thing. But let me share what I got. I picked up so much at the half-price bookstore, I had to make myself put a lot back, so I restrained myself. But I did come home with one book less than I left with, so I guess it's a victory bookshelf-wise. I'm going to start with the ones I got at the half-price bookstore. Trader's Blade, the first book of the Greatcoat series. The Greatcoats are an elite corps of men and women whose mission is to travel the land and uphold the king's law. Highly trained in martial, diplomatic, and judicial arts, the Greatcoats are heroes to all. Sometimes you just want to read about heroic, noble people, and I'm hoping that I enjoyed this one. Next one, Kushiel's Dart, a book full of intrigue, that's for sure. I have read this one before, but I did really enjoy it and wanted it for my bookshelf. The main character is trained as a spy, but she does it in the guise of a courtesan. In this society, as a courtesan, she's basically a slave, but she earns money towards her freedom by embarking on these missions for her employer. The world building is very rich. It's a sensual novel. Throughout her missions, she learns of this plot that threatens to unravel her society. I don't remember a lot of the details because it's been a couple years since I read it, and I'm eager to reread it. Next, another more romantic read, The Crystal Cave by Mary Stewart, but this is always on the list of highly recommended Arthurian retellings, which is why it's been lodged in my brain. So when I saw it on the shelf, I thought I have to get it, just check it out and see if I enjoy it. I've been enjoying the last few Arthurian retellings I've read. I do need to read The Winter King. It's recommended to read that one on audiobook. So found Mary Stewart's version, and I always love a bit of a romance. I hope that it's infused throughout the story. Next, this is the novel that I was looking for and hoping to find at the used bookstore, but I didn't find it there, so I had to go to Barnes & Noble. The last book in the Expanse trilogy, Leviathan Falls. I have finally reached this point, and we're gonna find out how it ends. I have a deal with my father. He purchased the series for me as long as I let him read them. He's currently on book 7, and I told him, since I'm ahead of you in the series, when I reach the end, I'll buy the last one for us to read. So the set will be complete, and the series will be complete. Don't they look so nice together? The last book I got at Barnes & Noble was a graphic novel, since I've been interested in reading more of them, and I've heard whisperings about how good this one is. Lore Olympus, which is a Persephone, Hades, Greek pantheon graphic novel. When I saw it sitting there on the table and opened it up and saw how beautiful these illustrations are, I knew that if I was gonna read this, I needed to just have the physical copy in my hands so I could really enjoy the artwork. But just looking at the cover, I think it looks cool, and I haven't even started reading it yet. Oh, there are a couple other books I got over the last few months that I haven't mentioned yet. I purchased the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jen Williams through Book Depository, since you can't find it in publishers in the United States. I have read the first book. I really liked it. I still need to talk about it on this channel. But yes, I went ahead and I have the whole trilogy. If you haven't heard of the Winnowing Flame, Elliot Brooks loves this series, and she talks about it a lot on her channel, and I will link one of those videos for you to check out. Last, I had pre-ordered a special edition of Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, and it finally came in. When I saw this version, I couldn't resist. It doesn't have a cover. This is the whole thing. The edges are gilded. There's a beautiful quote on the back from the story, and there's also illustrations in the cover. So I haven't read this version. I did, since I was waiting for this version to come in, I checked it out from the library and read it in advance, and I've already reviewed it. I definitely appreciate a beautiful book cover every now and then. I hope you enjoyed this small book haul, a little unhaul. Trying to keep my bookshelf containing books that I'm very excited about, that I love, that I want to reread, because I have very limited space. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you're excited to read about this month. And as always, don't forget to support your local library. Thanks.